Welcome to Unlimited Realities. Hello, I am Lisa Zimmer, your host for Unlimited Realities, and I am just really excited to have this show and the experience of my guest to share with you. So we're talking about near-death experiences today. And although that really pushes a lot of people's perspectives, if you will, more and more is being discovered in regard to how our brain works, how our soul is unlimited, and what happens in regard to when our body stops and our essence, our consciousness, lives on. So I hadn't, like I was talking about, I had a near-death experience when I was 18 years old, and since then, it definitely changed me, directed my course in life, and also I've been researching near-death experiences since then. No coincidence that the first book I read from front to back when I was 7 years old was Life After... with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, Life After Death, and Raymond Moody. So my Catholic mother had that laying around, and that altered my perspective. So then, fast forward, I had my near death. I've researched this for 30 years. I have to say this story today with Britney Hartman is the most fascinating I've ever heard. Absolutely the most fascinating near-death experience I have ever heard. And so without further ado, let me introduce our guest today, Britney Hartman, who is going to talk about how she had a near-death experience in December 2019. Now, that's not too long ago, folks. And here she is, absolutely changed perspective and belief that, life exists beyond this dimension. So welcome, Britney Hartman, to Unlimited Realities. Thank you for being my guest today. I'm so excited to talk to you. Hello, Britney. Can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yay! I can hear you now. Hi, Britney.
Yay.
How are you?
Hi, everybody.
This is Britney Hartman audience, and like I said, her experience is phenomenal. She talks about her near-death experience and 3 levels of heaven. So, Britney, let's talk about, first of all, what was your belief system prior to this experience? So did you have a strong faith in God? Were you somebody who believed in the afterlife? Where were you in your belief system prior to this?
I would say that prior to this, I was spiritual. I believed in something, but I didn't know quite what I believed in. I knew that some of my beliefs were very different than others. Since I was a little kid, I just could not fathom that there was a hell. Well, why would God be so, how could God punish, people like that? Maybe they're very, very bad ones, but, like suicides, that kind of stuff, it just never made sense to me.
Right.
So I could never really subscribe to most of the religions just because of some of the beliefs. But I did have my mom who, she raised us as Lutheran when we were little. We went to church, but that stopped probably when we were 8 or so, when I was 8. And then from then on, my mom, she was religious. She believed in God, Jesus. She prayed. She would tell us, if we were ever in a horrible spot, to pray, that the Lord would help us. But besides that, there wasn't much else. We didn't talk about the Bible. I've never read the Bible. So it was very limited, I would say. I knew I had some beliefs, but I didn't really know what.
And did you feel your belief, you say you were spiritual, did you feel like you had a connection to God, divinity, spirit, essence, the universe, prior to this experience?
Not really. I mean, now
Okay.
I totally do. So I would say no.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have asked me before,
Okay.
I would have said, oh yeah, I'm connected. You know, I know that when I die, I'm going to go there, you know. So I
Right.
thought I was connected, but now I know I'm connected.
Awesome. That's an awesome answer. I really love that. So, okay, so it's December 2019, okay?
Yep.
And do you know what's your state of mind at this point? What's going on in December 2019? What's happening?
So a lot was happening in December 2019. I was having a lot of relationship issues with my mom, with my sister, and they were mostly my family growing up. And I was having a lot of relationship issues with my husband as well. I was pretty struggling. 2019 was a really hard year for me.
Okay. So
and that's probably what led to my experience.
Okay, so take me to the experience. What happened?
So I've always had like suicidal ideation since I was probably 11. I've had this voice inside of me since I was 11, and it probably stems from some child abuse that I had about that time. But I've always had that voice inside of me that said I wasn't good enough. You're too fat. You're too ugly. You're worthless. You know, you shouldn't be here. So I've struggled with those thoughts pretty much my entire life. But I've never acted upon them. And the reason why I never acted upon them is because my mom was very vocal about how she could never bury us. That would be the hardest thing for her. And so I knew I could not do anything. I could not, kill myself. I could not exit this world on my own volition until my mom passed. Mm-hmm. So she was kind of what kept me going. I never attempted suicide up until that day. And why that day, I can't really pinpoint it. I was really having a hard time, like I said, with relationships. But there wasn't something horrible that happened that day. So I think I was just tired, ran down, and for whatever reason, I tried to kill myself. I waited till my husband left for his lunch break. He was working that day. I believe it was a Sunday. It was December 7th, so I'm pretty sure it was a Sunday. But he was working. He came home from lunch, and I waited for him to, he left back home and went to back to work. And I just had this weird feeling. I was like, oh, my God, is this it? I'm actually going to do this? And I kind of talked to God. I was like, oh, my God, this is it. This is the end. And I drank 2 vials of anesthetic, and that's what stopped my breathing. And that's where I had the near-death experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, God bless you, Brittany. God did bless you. I mean, this is, I'm covered in goosebumps. That's how, one of my body sensations with connection. And it's, this is, what a powerful story. Wow. Okay. So, so here you are, and it's just, and this says a lot because, this is not an uncommon place that so many people who have, whether they've thought about suicide, felt suicidal, are depressed, that, many times when it's a failed attempt, thank God, they come back and they say it wasn't any one thing. It wasn't like this was a horrible day or this person did this and that's why I did it. It was just exhaustion, tired of being depressed, tired of being sad, tired of not being hopeful. And, I find your message just an incredible, powerful message here. You've got so many elements going on. You've got so many. What a what a powerful spirit you are. You have some big angels there, Brittany. Big
Very.
angels. All right, so we're walking through. Okay, so we're at this point, and you've made this decision, and you drank these 2 vials. What do you remember next?
So I drank the 2 vials, and for whatever reason, I decided I wanted to leave the couch and go to my bed. So I started walking from the couch to the bedroom. I did not make it to the bed. I fell onto the floor into my bedroom, and I closed my eyes, and that's
Wow.
the last I know of Earth. But when I opened my eyes, I was in it. I call it level 1. I had a guide, or maybe, an angel, however you want to label it. But I had a voice that, kind of walked me through everything that I went through up until the end, and I'll get to that. But so when I open my eyes, I see this amazing place. It looks a lot like Earth, but very bright, very vivid colors, colors that I have never even seen before. I mean, I can't even describe to you what it looked like because there's just no words. But it was the most Earth-like that I had seen. And so the voice said, this is level 1. And then that was pretty much it. I quickly, I don't know if I blinked or just suddenly I popped into level 2. And level 2, it was a big, I would call it like a house, but it was a different house than I'm used to seeing. It was huge. It was beautiful.
Okay.
There was a lot of gold, a lot of light, but it was definitely, I was inside of a home, and there was a big table, and that's where all my family was. I saw my grandma and grandpa who passed. I saw my uncle. I saw some people that I have no idea who they were, but I knew that I was related to them. And I don't know how I knew that, but I just knew that. But the weird thing was my mom was there and my dog Bear. And it didn't make sense to me because those 2 people, well, that person and my dog, they were still alive. So I thought, okay, this has to be a dream. This makes no sense to me. So I was kind of hanging out there. Again, it was very quick, but the voice kind of came in and said, this is level 2. You're needed on level 3, but your family can't come to level 3. And I was very surprised at how willingly I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. Let's go to level 3. Because I hadn't seen my grandma for a very long time. And my grandma was very, she was my person. I loved her to death. We were very close. So for me to just be able to hug her and go, that surprises me. But anyway, that's what I did, and then popped up to level 3. Level 3 is what I would describe the most heaven-looking. There was a bunch of, that was the most bright light, more gold than any, very colorful, very bright. And there were, I think the gates, I don't remember if they were open or not, but I do remember seeing some kind of gate or fence thing. But that's where the angel kind of, I saw her, and it was more of a light. I couldn't really make out, a body, but I just kind of knew what it was, And so that voice said, okay, you're needed here on level 3, but you need to finish what you started. Level 3 is where the most highly religious, evolved people are, but you need to go back and finish what you started. And that's when I started falling back through each individual level, and then that's when I fell back into my body and woke up. And then that's when I crawled over to the phone and dialed 911. I don't remember the cop coming in. I kind of remember him screaming. I remember parts of the ambulance ride to the hospital, and I remember the end of the hospital, but I don't remember the beginning. but I can remember every single piece of that experience. And
Wow.
not 2 weeks later,